Del lado de la acumulación capitalista, la tendencia liberal y la tendencia autoritaria. La primera va perdiendo, la segunda no solo está avanzando. Con el arribo de Trump a la Casa Blanca, si Le Pen gana en Francia este año, la tendencia autoritaria tiene posibilidad de adquirir soporte transatlántico. Es muy peligroso lo que enfrentamos en el siglo XXI. No hay que pensar Ecuador, América Latina, de manera local. El pensamiento provinciano no nos sirve. El siglo XXI tiene encima el peligro de la crisis más grave en la historia de la mundialización y el peligro de una tendencia autoritaria sumamente amenazante. En este contexto vale la pena decir que lo que está en juego con Trump no es populismo, no es neokeynesianismo, no es proteccionismo. Todas estas definiciones son extremadamente insuficientes. Me parece que sí hay que decir que aquí hay una revisión mutatis mutandis, cambiando lo que hay que cambiar, del proyecto de la Alemania hitleriana. Si es neonazi esto. Si es neonazi esto. Si es neonazi esto. Si es neonazi esto. Me parece que sí hay que decir que aquí hay una revisión mutatis mutandis, cambiando lo que hay que cambiar, del proyecto de la Alemania hitleriana. Si es neonazi esto. Lo que está en juego en el choque que Trump propulsa es el enfrentamiento de los trabajadores blancos, racistas, estadounidenses contra los migrantes ilegales, chicanos de México, de Centroamérica.
En el beat.
Check 1 2 1 2, yes. Today is February 23rd. This is La Revolución Ciudadana.net. And we're here to speak a little bit about what's been happening lately. Now, as you'll see, this track is finishing up here. It's going to restart again. As you see, there's a lot happening here, not just in the US, but also in Ecuador. We have an election that just ended and finally got the last word on what the results were. Many things to talk about, especially considering that the world's eyes are on the elections. The world is looking to see what will happen, which way will Latin America take, what countries will be left after Argentina has kind of dropped out, or has dropped out after Macri and his measures. His capitalist neoliberal measures have practically destroyed the social movements. Also, we'll look at a few things culture-wise that are happening in Ecuador that kind of, if you've been in the US or Canada or anywhere else where things kind of move differently, you'll notice that things just kind of don't make sense. Yeah, things that do happen back home or in the north, but somehow we've surpassed them. So yes, what I'm talking about is Toño Abril and Sebastián Aros were found guilty of a crime, sentenced to 29 years in prison, and outside of the jail it was havoc. But we'll look into that. These people are reality stars, TV shows. If anyone knows, I'm sure you've known, kids spend 3 to 4 hours watching these fake dramas, and they just talk nonsense all the time, creating the most mundane and inane dramas and questions, and with the cheesy music and everything. But these kids love it, they eat it all up, and yes, this is the electorate, this will be the electorate, and as you can see, they're easily manipulated. We can say they're easily manipulated by the media. So, jumping into what happened, what seems to be many years ago, but it was actually just all last night, since the tension here in Guayaquil and in Ecuador has been super high. It's almost a deep, low hum tension where people are not really sure what exactly will happen. All kinds of rumors, all kinds of videos that have come out, all kinds of intrigue, and a taste of the old country, you could say, a taste of how people used to do politics by inciting violence and crying about things and getting everybody and anybody in front of the media to say that things are not just fair, and that everything is a farce, and all the fake news that you can possibly imagine. Nothing is real for them. Nothing is real for them, meaning the opposition, or for people that just cannot see a change. Well, in any case, the news is that there will be a runoff. There will be another election between Lenin and Lasso, and with that, we'll see exactly what's going to happen. For all those that don't know, Lenin received, incredibly enough, almost 0.5% less than the required to have him win completely. That is 40%. He did satisfy the requirement of 10% difference between him and the next person, meaning Lasso. Lasso received 28.1%. Lenin, at the time of the president of the election spoke, was 39.3%. So as you can see, yesterday night, in a brief cadena, Juan Pablo Pozo did speak and gave us the results with, as he said, 99.5% of the actas escrutadas, basically all the results double checked. And just to jump in here, one of the things that happens and many people don't speak about is the level of Spanish that is required when you come to this country. People don't speak in normal terms in maybe grade 11, grade 10 English or Spanish, excuse me. You'll see words that you'll have to look up in a dictionary. You'll see words that just make no sense, that you can't, they're not cognate. You just can't maybe guess what the equivalent would be in English. But you'll see it in the newspapers, in cadenas, public television, and it's something that has to be addressed. But that's just an aside. I think what happens is a lot of people are left out. They don't know what those words mean, and if you don't know, imagine the person that has zero, almost no education. We'll let this track finish up and we'll continue here in 1 second. LaRevolucionCiudadana.net. Here we go. So the heat is up, the heat is intense. The amount of junk on the internet is incredible. You'll be surprised. All kinds of videos you'll see. You've seen the opposition, the vice president acting very vice presidently in the traditional Ecuadorian way. Yep, the Ecuador del pasado, as they say. Get up on stage and say they'll burn Quito. Yeah, they'll burn Quito. So. Our wonderful mayor here in Guayaquil has also said that he won't accept what's happened. He won't accept the results. That the results are incredible. That they cannot be what they are, and that he demands a recount. well, all this is in the past in any sense, but what happened was that they got in front of the TVs immediately, even before the results were out, just on speculation on the first counts, on the first preliminary counts. They came out, the opposition, the main faces that you'll see, and declared themselves winners in the sense that yes, it was going into a second vote or a runoff. Of course, at that time, we're talking about 3 days ago, there was no information of the sort that was going to happen. It was a tendency. You could have calculated that was going to happen, but it was all speculation at the point. But irresponsibly enough, these people, you'll see, fully backed up by the U.S. and other countries of the world that do not want Ecuador to continue its socialist, 21st socialist project, were saying that they were going to have a second chance and that they were going to win, because obviously everybody's just going to jump their party and go with them, right? Because of course all the media in the world says that there's no democracy in Venezuela, there's no democracy in Bolivia, but there's no democracy in Ecuador yet. There was 5 parties that had a voice, 5 parties that were running, 5 parties that were on the internet, 5 parties that were given full attention by the public media, and yet we've got to elect from these people, and it makes for a huge ballot sheet. You get 5 ballot sheets at the time of voting. It used to be, before some changes were made, with the help of the Citizens Revolution with Rafael Correa, that there was like 15 parties. Yeah, 15 parties all had a voice. Imagine those sheets. Imagine the mess that would be made then, and imagine the amount of opposition or wanting to a recount or speculated problems or perceived problems then from those parties. So yes, getting back to with the elections last night, or actually yesterday morning sometime, the president did get on and do his Tuesday, Wednesday conversatorio con los medios, basically just talking to the press, and he did stipulate, that that whatever was said then, shouldn't be published only for the international media, because it was mostly international media, and it was very important international media, bringing up this subject, which is that there was much international attention to the elections. I personally was on Twitter during the time that the results were coming in, and let me tell you, on Twitter that thing was blowing up. Surprisingly, because I do tweet in English, and I have tweeted in English for the last several years, I could not believe the amount of tweets that were happening in English. Now all these accounts seem tremendously fake, and the level of fake, as some other bloggers out there have said, or speakers, has become more sophisticated. These accounts come up with names, with blog addresses, websites. They look with full profile pictures and sayings and descriptions, but very little content, and in fact very little history. So in any case, there was a lot of international media. Rafael Correa did get on to the radio yesterday and explain a bit, or a lot, what has happened in the last week, since he's practically been off the radar. He's laid low, let the elections occurred by, without his major intervention or speeches. He did tweet a few things here and there, but just as I guess support for his party. In any case, he did give a lot of insight yesterday. I do recommend that you do see the conversatorio del presidente Rafael con los medios de comunicación from yesterday, February 22nd, 2017. So just to elaborate a little bit on what he said, which is, you can see the picture in front of you. Van a meter millones de dólares nacionales y extranjeros. Vamos a luchar contra la derecha del mundo. So this is exactly the topic of this elections. You can see a huge international presence. Just personally, I've seen people, personalities from Toronto, Canada involved here. Yeah, all of a sudden they are out of the woodwork and out in Ecuador, and they've got their piece to say. Albeit a lot of them are a little shy to say their piece, but they have said their piece and then erased it. There was Mirna Kahan, which is I believe she's a Cuban personality or Puerto Rican personality for many years, well respected, but the last few years she's, I guess, lost that previous following she had, and she's, I guess, diversified her portfolio and mainly politics. Now she seems to be in Ecuador and she has her 2 cents. She betted to a few people online that Lasso was going to win. She showed her approval of him, saying that he was the best candidate, el más opcionado, which means the best optioned, but like a stock, and that he was going to win. And she argued, she didn't really argue, but she did state that. I've also heard from other sources, some other people in Toronto that have said that they belong to different parties aside from Alianza País. Hey, everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got a right to belong to a party, everybody's got a right to express their political views. My question is, what are they offering? What are those parties offering for the poor? What are those parties offering for the migrants? And do you know about their political leanings? And if you do you want to give your money to them? In any case, that's your decision. I'm sure a lot of these things are happening in the United States, in Europe, and other parts of the world where Ecuadorianos reside. Just on a small note, Alianza País seems to have lost by a big majority in Europe, Asia, and in Asia, and I think it's the Caribbean, but in any case, they lost there. So there's a big presence of Lasso and his other parties, and the other parties in those areas, aside from North America, and there has to be a calling. There has to be a calling for Alianza País and for the humanist tendencies, the socialist tendencies, the people that care for the small guy. They have to come out and give their piece out. We need them, we need representatives in those places, and we need them to speak up, because you leave Ecuador, but it doesn't mean that Ecuador has left you. And there's no denying that changes have occurred in Ecuador. I mean, this is a moot point. The world is changing everywhere else aside, unless you're a big-time kuno, a big-time businessman, neoliberal, you love it, great, wonderful, then just turn this off and don't listen to this. But if you care about people and you care about social practices and that help people, then you're listening to the right place, and if you're in the right country. So please help along. Ecuador has advanced every day. I'm telling you, for the last, I don't know how long, 2 years or so, 3 years, 4 years, we've had some kind of massive obra, work done, and it's no joke. It's no joke. When did that happen before? It never occurred before. Never. It was absolutely unheard of. A school? Nah. A hospital? Forget it. So I don't want to belabor at this point, because it's just you got to be completely blind, and I don't speak to blind people. In a sense, blind to yourself, to your own self-love, that you can't see what's happening out there in Ecuador. And the changes are welcoming. You come, you love it, you feel safe. The police cracks down on international drug trades. They crack down on petty crimes. There's no massive killings. There's no massive accidents on the buses. There's order, there's security. Hey, it's not heaven, but it is a little piece of heaven. In any case, just to finish up here, because we're rolling on to the 20th minute, I just wanted to finish off with this issue of Paraisos Fiscales. Now, I'm not sure if most of you listeners are aware of what Paraisos Fiscales are, but basically Paraisos Fiscales are money that's actually siphoned off countries. They're put into some account somewhere which has its own jurisdiction, its own control, like the Cayman Islands, the Bahamas, Nevada, little small places in Canada, in Asia, you name it, whatever. As long as they control the banks there, the money gets popped in there and no taxes are paid. So as you can see, you can imagine the amount of abuse that happens here because no one's actually keeping track of how much money is going out there and the amount of taxes that are not being paid on that. So every year you pay taxes, but these rich guys, they don't have to pay taxes. Let me just tell you that in Ecuador, the amount for the last 10 years, $30 billion has been siphoned out of Ecuador and not paid any taxes. So imagine that money if it would have been taxed at 1 or 2%, which is almost nothing. This could have helped greatly for educational costs, for obras, for works, public works. Yeah, it would have helped you, it would have helped your family. Maybe it would have helped some programs to help you that you are outside of the country. So let's get on that. Let's think about Paraisos Fiscales. Let's get on that. I mean, it did win. It did win by 10, 12% points. And it will be something that, according to this referendum in these elections, it was voted on and it did succeed. Yes, so it did succeed and this will continue. The Minister Long will check to make sure that this is brought up and continues to be brought up in the Naciones Unidas and in the United Nations. And some attention gets brought to this and we get together with other countries, the G77, and we talk on this. And make sure that the minority, the world's minority, that is brown, black people of the world unite. Yes, these people get their voices heard and get a little bit of attention. The rich are making tons and tons of money. Just alone in the last not even month or two that Trump was in power, that has been in power, the rich have gotten that much richer. The numbers are just staggering. The world's riches increase like by 5% every year, and they earn, as everybody knows, they own 1%, 5% of the world's wealth, and it's only like 200 of them. So let's look into this. Keep an eye out for that. Something very interesting. Get it talking, get it sharing with people. Let people know what's happening, what Ecuador is doing, and our role. And be proud of your country. Thank you for listening. I was going to talk about what happened with these reality stars, but you know what? It's not even worth the breath. What the point here is that if you do have family in United States, in Canada, or anywhere else outside of Ecuador, let them know. Let them know what's happening on the TV. Yeah, the communication law is in effect, and this kind of programming has been shunned on, and all the other rest of the nonsense that was on the telebasura has been filtered out, and some level of standard has increased, which is just duh. I mean, these are laws that have existed in Canada and US for the last 50, 60 years, and no one has beef with them, and the strength that they have is strong. You can't even swear on television in the US at all, and in Canada the standards are high, which is good. We need educated population, we need an educated population so that we all make right decisions in our own personal lives and politically. But check it out. These reality shows are just a joke. 4 hours of complete nonsense drama, and then some identification with these people, and then these people become ministers. Sometimes they become big politicians, and now look at this, people protecting them, not thinking of the offender, but thinking of the offender, not thinking of the victim, but thinking of the offender. That's just incredible, and it should not be acceptable, and we should all speak up against that. This track, I'm sorry if it's driving you crazy, but I found it's free. It is by a Mexican producer, and it's a cool little track to be wrapping off. In any case, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you so much for listening. This was my first installment of La Revolución Ciudadana.net Ecuador. And please keep listening. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you want me to speak about, what kind of insight I can give you. If you have questions, if you hate me, just let me know too. That's cool. I don't care. You all have a voice. I have my voice, so you get your own blog going, and maybe I might listen to it. I love listening to the opposition. This makes us all better. This is the dialectical reason. This is the way things are made, the yin and yang, the up and down, the black and white, whatever you want to call it. We all need an opposition to make our lives better, to make us stay on our tiptoes, to make us thinking and alert. So yeah, give me your insight, give me your ideas. If you're gonna swear at me, forget it. I'm just gonna delete you or block you. It doesn't matter anyways to me. It takes me 2 seconds, and if I can't do it, I'll get someone else to do it. But in any case, your feedback is and will be appreciated. Also, if you have any topics you want me to talk about, I will be plugging in. Just throw me a line. I will leave the comments on to talk, to allow for this kind of feedback. We need feedback. I don't expect everyone to be in agreement with everything that Correa's party does, the Alianza País, but it is to get that feedback and to get these ideas contested, tried, thought of. So we want your opinion. We want you to give us some kind of feedback, no matter where you're from or what language you speak. If you speak French, if you speak English, we'll get a translator for you. Give us your feedback. Yes. This was Luis Castro. You can follow me at larevolucionciudadana.net webpage. I really haven't updated it lately. It's just a little bit of work, but nevertheless, you can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on my own account at Luis Alfonso Castro. I give my tweets there, also through Alianza País Canada on Facebook, and through Alianza País, the group, Canada, the group, on Facebook. In any case, this has been Thursday in Guayaquil, Ecuador, February 23rd. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be checking in momentarily again with any updates or news. So please give us a call. Give us a call, give us a check. Check us out. Thank you so much. Have a good one.